This week, Fox 12 Investigates has been bringing you stories about the growing movement of people choosing sobriety beyond dry January.
Investigative reporter Ezra Kaplan has been exploring that world, and today he brings us a profile of one very well-known local chef who has made waves in the culinary world, both with his cooking and his own recovery.
After 10 years on the Portland culinary scene, Gabriel Rucker knew it was time for a serious change.
I couldn't drink anymore. I'd reached my limit. I was lucky I had a fairly high bottom. You know, I hadn't lost my restaurant. I was still married. I had just had my second child, my daughter. But enough was enough.
On Halloween of 2013, he got sober. He says he is one of the lucky ones. Most addicts and alcoholics never get the chance to break the cycle.
One of the big reasons that I was able to find recovery is because I had a father that was in recovery. I had a blueprint. I'd seen it happen. I was 9 years old, and my father went into recovery, so I watched that happen as a child.
Despite being a two-time James Beard award-winning chef, having 4 restaurants around Portland, and now a decade of recovery, Gabriel says that staying sober is priority number 1.
When you do go into recovery, that's your everything. That's your foundation. And it's actually quite a little bit selfish, you know? You have to, usually when you're drinking alcoholically or using drugs, you're doing that kind of selfishly. And so you have to kind of recover selfishly. That comes first, and that still comes first. That's my foundation.
It's a foundation that has allowed him to be a resource for others in the restaurant industry struggling with addiction.
We brought Ben's Friends to Portland, which is, a recovery group, not too dissimilar to AA, but just dissimilar enough that is just for food and beverage people. Every Tuesday we meet at Bunk Bar down on Water Avenue. And, we all get around and we talk and we share our stories and we empower each other.
The group started in Charleston, South Carolina, after a cook named Ben died from an overdose. The founders asked Gabriel to help bring the group to Portland's famous food scene.
And it's just blown up here. It's just wonderful. And getting the opportunity to, once a week, go sit down and have new faces come in.
Gabriel is loud and proud about his recovery, but that's how he does just about everything in life.
I say I drank kind of publicly, so I had to quit drinking kind of publicly. But just because I quit drinking didn't mean that overnight it was like, okay, everybody has to change. But now in my kitchens, alcohol is not a bad thing. The way I used it was a bad thing, Alcohol is a beautiful thing. We sell it. Wine is a great thing, but I couldn't use it responsibly.
How has your own recovery made you better in this industry? How has it helped you to be a better chef?
When I first decided to get sober, I walked into the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous. But at a certain point when you're going and you're practicing a program of AA, it stops being about what you're trying not to do, and it starts being about what you're learning to do. And I think that's been the self-awareness, the learning to pause when I'm agitated. Just the 12 steps are they're just a wonderful blueprint for life.
There is an endearing irony to Gabriel's journey. His selfish recovery has allowed him to excel in an industry that is built upon selfless service.
Taking care of myself when I'm outside of the walls of the restaurant really makes me a better person when I'm inside these walls, and acknowledging that that's what I need to do for my staff as well. Making sure that they take care of themselves when they're outside of the walls of these restaurants, so that when they're here, they're on their game. And that's how we get the best out of them.
Ezra Kaplan, Fox 12 Oregon.
Yeah, and Gabe Rucker is one of the best-known chefs in Portland. He's built a reputation around the world. He hosts gatherings for chefs built around those non-alcoholic drinks. And in our next hour of Good Day Oregon, Ezra is going to dive into some local businesses that cater to those growing groups of sober diners with non-alcoholic spirits and beer.